Is meat consumption morally defensible? The answer is going to vary depending on who you ask. My answer is yes, there is a moral case to be made for meat consumption. The reason I would say that is even in taking into consideration the concerns about the rights of animals and about the welfare of animals that are raised for food and killed for meat, keeping in mind that there are absolutely environmental concerns that have been raised and discussed, but then factoring in the nutritional benefits of meat, which are actually not met quite as well by plant-based alternatives to meat, and keeping in mind the number of people around the world, some in developed nations, many in developing nations, who do not have the luxury of choice that many of us who are able to have conversations about the ethics of food do indeed have. It becomes sort of morally problematic to imply that people should not eat meat, especially those who live in regions where there's not enough arable land for a fully plant-based diet to be available to everyone and to be accessible. And that means accessible also in terms of price. And so when one factors in the human factors, the animal factors, the human nutritional factors, if we have the opportunity to use scientific innovation to better address the potential harms, the ethical concerns that are valid, that are raised as a result of meat eating, with the interests that people have, particularly those who are vulnerable, disenfranchised, who really have the right to have good, high quality protein and not have their food choices dictated by others who are more affluent, who do not have the constraints that they have, then certainly I think if we are going to think about the concerns of the environment now and in the future, the rights of animals and their welfare now and in the future, it is morally inconsistent to not also think about the rights of people to have safe, accessible, affordable food, in other words, food equity. And so I think on balance, if we can manage the ethical interests of all of those parties and use good scientific innovation to offset the problems that we have, some level of meat eating is absolutely defensible, especially when one adds into the equation that the number of field animals that are killed for a purely plant-based diet are extraordinarily high and much higher than the number of animals that would be killed in a mixed diet that has some meat involved.